YouTube, once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast talking to Auburn football. Look, Auburn is coming into this game with a 3-game winning streak. A lot of folks didn't expect this. A lot of folks were throwing in the towel for the Auburn Tigers after the Ole Miss loss. And, you know, with Auburn fans, you got to look at it like this. You know, Auburn fans are kind of hot and cold, to be honest with you. A win, you're like, hey, man, we're on our way. We're going to win the national, blah, blah, blah. Then a loss, hey, fire the coach, get rid of everybody. Auburn has that hot and cold mentality that, especially with the first-year head coach, you just can't have. I just think, in my opinion, you can't have. Go ahead and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn down in Deep South. College football is king, and on the plains of Auburn, the battle cry is War Eagle. Auburn fans they're great now. 3-game winning streak. Peyton Thorne, quarterback, is starting to come into his own and really starting to get some... Hell, I like the guy. You know, I thought he was a little questionable a little earlier in the season. But I'm starting to get a little trust in him to where, heck, you know, I think he could be, you know, continue to be pretty good for the Tigers down the stretch. He's doing some great things with the run-pass option. He's doing some great things with leadership and throwing the ball down the field, especially with the more high-percentage passes. But look, you have New Mexico State coming to town. They will come into town with a berth in the Conference USA Championship, which I think is a huge feat for them, considering, you know, all that they've been through. You talk about a 2-10 season back in 2021. And, you know, things have gotten better under Jerry Kelly. I mean, he's led the Aggies to 2 bowl games, one last year, going to lead them to another this year, and also a conference championship game. So I think that says a lot for what he's been able to do for that program. You know, prior to that, under Doug Martin, very less than mediocre. 2-10. They didn't do much during the COVID season. So this is what you got. Now, here's the skinny on New Mexico State. If they're not able to go with Diego Pavia, that could be a problem. This is a guy that's been massive in production for New Mexico State. You know, you talk about a guy with like 2,250-something passing yards, another 700 rushing yards. If he's not available, that could put this offense that was going to be in a bind anyway, in a serious bind against Auburn, who has garnished some momentum from that Arkansas game, that Vanderbilt game. This Auburn defense is playing very well. And they're playing very well on getting teams off the field on 3rd down. So if you don't have your starting quarterback to anchor this thing, the guy that you've had all year, and maybe you might be holding him out for the Conference USA Championship, you want to secure that win, or give yourself a better opportunity to secure that win. But you need that if you want to have a chance against Auburn, which even with Diego, I don't think you do. You know, you might want to hold him out if you have better aspirations, especially considering all that's involved. You definitely got better aspiration than what Auburn has, at least as far as championship genre conversation has to do. But I'll tell you what, I think Hugh Freeze is right where he wants to be. He wanted to win those games against Vanderbilt and Arkansas, and he did not want to have to rely on a win against New Mexico State to get bowl eligible. I think he wanted to go into this Alabama game respectably at 7-4, considering how things went. He can sell that a little bit better. 7-4, you know, you lost 4 straight, but you win 3 straight, and you got an opportunity to win against your rival Alabama, who has played very well. I think Jalen Milroe is one of the hottest quarterbacks in college football. I think Alabama has an opportunity to, of course, they're going to represent the SEC West in the SEC championship game. A win there, I mean, you got to put them in. I think you got to put them in. One loss. They did everything you asked them to do. They continue to improve every week. Nick Saban has shown that he is not over the hill. He continues to adapt with the times. He's the best college football coach ever, in my opinion. So, but he does have a problem coming to Jordan-Hare Stadium. Now, you know, I think Auburn definitely needed that win, of course, over Arkansas. You know, the last thing you want to do is have to rely on a Conference USA team to get into a bowl berth. And even with that, chances are if you do beat New Mexico State, which Auburn should, and given a different scenario, go 6-6, you're headed back to the Birmingham Bowl. And that's definitely not what Hugh Freeze needed when he's trying to get some exposure, when he's trying to right the wrongs of this program and get them to a different direction. Now, here are a few takeaways from Auburn as far as personnel goes, as far as some guys that I think have to stand out and continue to stand out in order for Auburn to be successful. Number one, I think Peyton Thorne has to continue to build his confidence. He showed some different things, and this is what leads me to believe that Hugh Freeze might be calling the plays. You know, some of those plays that played with Fairweather, where he kind of countered out into the flat and scored a touchdown in the first half. That was a beautifully designed play. I think he needs to continue to improve. Peyton Thorne does, as over the last few weeks he's been solid. Over 65% passing the football. You know, running the ball for about 190 yards, something that he wasn't asked to do at Michigan State. Jerquez Hunter is chasing 1,000 yards as an Auburn rusher, and he's been pretty good over the last few weeks, averaging 8 yards per carry. And Jalen McLeod, my goodness, a historic day for him, as, you know, he had 9 tackles and 3 sacks. Co-defensive player of the year. He's going to have a big game, not only against New Mexico State, but as Auburn continues the game plan for this Iron Bowl. Now, here's what I need you guys to do. Like the video. Flood the comment section on what you think Auburn would do moving forward. And subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. Down in Deep South, college football is king. On the plains of Auburn, the battle cry is War Eagle. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you maybe tomorrow. War Eagle.
A lot of good things from Saturday that we're happy with, and obviously always something to improve, but to go on the road and win in dominating fashion. I think the most glaring thing that we were most pleased with is I thought we dominated the trenches on both sides, offensive line and defensive line, and usually that's a good sign in a game. And love the energy that our kids and staff brought and the way they jumped out, and I thought we played fast and started fast, and that was good to see. So good to be bowl eligible for sure, and we're excited about representing Auburn wherever that is. But we have more work to do. It starts this week with our return to Jordan-Hare and playing what I think is one of the better Group of 5 teams. They've gotten better and better and better as the year has progressed. I know Jerry killed it really well. He is one heck of a ball coach, and he'll have his guys ready, and they've continued to improve as the years went on. And they're a very talented team and play extremely hard. So we're going to need Jordan-Hare to be at his best, and we need to keep the momentum going. So it's going to be, we'll be faced with some of the normal challenges of wanting to rest on last week, and all of those things that come with as temptations, and we'll have to fight against that. So the leadership of the team is, I want to ask them to help me with that.
All right, question, second row, Bill.
Coach, talk about the play of the receivers. Is the mic on? Yeah, talk about the play of the receivers. It looks like VAR, is getting better and better.
Yeah, I think VAR is constantly improved ever since he came back from injury, and he's somebody that we've got to, he's got to figure into the passing game for sure. He and Jay, I've said it since I got here, that I thought those were two of the more talented guys that we've had. And we've improved some other places, but we still got a ways to go. We still are inconsistent in that room some, but we definitely have improved, and VAR is certainly part of that.
Fourth row back, Jay.
When you look back in your coaching career and in games where you go on the road and you have a dominating performance like you did, where do you put that in your rankings, where you go on the road in the conference and you have control for pretty much the entire game?
Yeah, that doesn't happen much in this conference. I honestly don't remember one in this conference. We had a few at Liberty and maybe one at Arkansas State, but don't remember going on the road in this conference and it going quite like it did for us Saturday. I mean, that was, it's the first time that Auburn's held an SEC opponents to 15 or fewer points in 3 straight games since 2016. I mean, most rushing yards in by an SEC team in the league game this season. So there was some, you look at those two deals, if you're rushing the ball in league play and you're holding, for 354, whatever we did Saturday, and then our defense is holding them to 15 or fewer points, so we've got a good chance to win. But to answer your question, I don't remember one quite like that.
Far back.
Could you get 3 conference victories in a row? You had a good week of recruiting. You start to feel the momentum build within this building and around this community when it comes to this program?
Yeah, you can't help but when you win some games and you're getting quality recruits. I mean, I think that's cause to say you have momentum, but but you have the job and the chores to continue that, because we stump our toe this week, and it's easy to say the momentum would be shifted the other way, and everyone that's praising you right now would not be praising you. So it's momentum is an everyday thing. I firmly believe in life you're either winning or learning.
I'm not on my parents' health insurance anymore, and I work for myself doing a bit of everything. So I found a plan for just...
And I think that's a choice. You can also choose losing, but one thing's for sure, you better get to choosing, or life has a way of choosing for you, and that's kind of going to be my message to our team this week. But when we're in a 4-game losing streak, that should be, you're obviously not winning, so it should be the learning time. But I don't like to wallow in that very long. I want to get out, and luckily our kids did too. But the only way you truly ever lose, I think, is when you just choose that, because every experience that we have, you can choose to learn from and make yourself better. And that's what I hope we'll do this week, is learn, why did we play well? Why are we getting better? We better not forget those things. There's still some learning to do.
We go front row, 3 in a row. Jay, Brian.
Yeah, Hugh, this offensive renaissance you got going on, what is the most satisfying part of that improvement for you?
That's a big word.
Yeah.
Well, it's really good just to see our kids play with confidence. I don't think you can be very good at anything if you don't have some confidence in what you're doing. And they seem to be a confident group right now that's excited about another opportunity. And I don't mean for this to sound anyway, but I mean, we could have put up a lot of numbers the other day, I think. And I mean, they were good, but I mean, we really started milking that clock about halfway through the 3rd quarter and didn't throw it. And so, I really wish I could have gotten hold of some throws in there, but you just want to handle things the right way too when you do get those opportunities, because I've been on the other side of that too. But I do think our kids are starting to believe in something and believe that we can, score some points, and they're playing this, with some confidence.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Pavia. You faced him last year.
Yeah.
He's pretty talented.
Very talented quarterback, extremely tough and mobile. He's a handful for sure, and they're using him in a lot of ways and a lot of motions and shifts and formations, and they got a really good plan, and he can make a lot of things happen with his feet.
Yes, Hugh, how's just the injury update on your team? How's the player?
I think we're okay. Nothing. I mean, there's some. Anytime you play a game, there's some things that pop up, but it's nothing that has ruled anybody out at this point. So, feel pretty fortunate.
You go front row, Jason.
You talked about confidence. Peyton is a guy that has made a couple of mistakes that might have derailed guys, but he just kind of keeps coming. How valuable is that as a quarterback, that he has that next play mentality and just kind of continues to let it go?
Quarterbacks, they better have that, and he does have it, and he's able to handle me, lets me rant a little bit, and without it destroying him. And I've got to be careful with that with some, probably, but all the good ones I've had, I've told him this is what's going to happen at times, and he's mature enough to handle it, and we can move on. I think, it's obviously glaring when he's made a mistake at quarterback, and I think he's one of the reasons though that I think he handles is the few mistakes he's made. He knows better, and I guess that's why it upsets me sometimes. But man, he is a no excuse guy, and I'll play the next play guy, and it shows.
I was able to trade this coin from Carvana for a brand new car. Here's how. I've been wanting to get a...
It was around this time last year, I think, after Arkansas, you were asked about New Mexico State. We started hearing your name a little bit more with the Auburn job. What do you remember about this time last year when you're obviously in the thick of that, and you're also balancing, a team that you are coaching during the season as well?
Extremely difficult to manage. I can't explain how hard it is. You are trying hard. We genuinely, listen, the Liberty people were so incredible to me, and I think we did good things for Liberty too. We beat a bunch of Power Fives there and ranked in the top 25 a couple years, won 3 bowl games, went to 4. I didn't get to coach the last one, and man, you realize that you might be getting this opportunity, and the truth is, you really don't know what's going to happen with the job searches. I've been around this long enough to know you really don't know, and so you don't know what to tell the people that are so good to you. And the good thing is I had a great relationship with our AD there, and I was very transparent with him along the journey, but it makes it very difficult because you realize you might be getting another opportunity at a place like Auburn based on how those young men and staff and everybody else have performed. And you realize there's going to be a lot of hurt involved, and in particular that last few days when you don't know what to say. You don't know if you're Auburn's choice, or if you're, because I truthfully wasn't out hunting a job. I was very content and very happy at Liberty, and you're trying everything in the world to manage it the right way, but what is the right way? And I actually was thinking about that this morning for some of the, you heard for all these families that are going to be displaced. We all sign up for it, so we get it, but I also thought about all the names that would start being floated around and the challenge that it is, because I just experienced it here recently, but I don't know what the right thing is to do, because you're trying to protect your relationship with those young men and the school that's been so good to you. While, I mean, you can't help but want to listen to an opportunity like at Auburn in the SEC. There's not many of those jobs, and I don't know if I've answered your question, but it is just extremely, extremely difficult to manage, and that last 24 hours was rough.
Stay down in front row.
Rivaldo has had touchdown last week against me, and he had 2 against Arkansas. I think all 3 of the touchdowns he's lined up at a different spot, tight end, big slot, out to the outside. Just how much of a weapon has he been for y'all in offense? Because you have a guy that you can move around and make plays for you in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, he's important to us, and I love our tight end room. I've said that. I think Tyler Fromm can do a lot of those things too. It was good to see all of them kind of get some touches the other day, and they're all, we stayed at 12 personnel a big portion of that game, and that allows us to line up Rivaldo a lot of different places so that it might be more difficult for their matchups on him, but that's something we think is important to us, is getting him moved around a decent amount.
Stay down here on the right side.
Talked a bit about just maintaining momentum, not resting on last week. You're at a point in the season where you have Alabama moving, you just have this winning streak going. How do you do that without, looking too far ahead?
It's going to test our maturity. We'll talk about it today in our team meeting, and that'll be my message. Is we won't talk about the other team that you mentioned. We'll talk about the one we have right in front of us that can sting us, and I've experienced that before. And we need to continue getting better. We still have a lot of things we can improve on, and so that will be the challenge. And the message is, how will we choose to handle this week? And it starts with today, and then Tuesday. There's a reason we've had some success. There's a lot of factors that go into having success, but one of them is the way they've approached work on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, so we better not change that.
Second row, Rich.
We've seen DJ really stick out the past couple of weeks. Do you recall how much, convincing it took for...
I'm sorry, DJ James.
To get DJ and Nehemiah back, and what have they done?
Yeah. I think DJ's improved, and Nehemiah's played 2 really solid games. The other, Ken Lee and Tyler Scott came in, 2 freshmen, and played solid also. But those 2 seniors, I mean, to have that experience, and not just experience, but experience and talent, is, and I've seen them mature and handle more of the leadership role and more accountable to the little things, and that's rewarding to see.
You talked a lot of confidence about the offense, but kind of piggybacking on the defense. I mean, they're playing with some of the utmost confidence as they lead the SEC in red zone defense, and they're forcing the most turnovers in the conference as well. Is there a particular player or group on that defensive side of the ball that has the most confidence and maybe the most vocal in practice and during games?
Well, I think Marcus Harris as the most vocal leader, and Keontae Scott. Those 2 guys, are the most vocal leaders, but the others are playing with a great amount of confidence. I think you're just now seeing with Jalen McLeod, what we saw at the beginning of fall camp. Truthfully, it's taken him this long to get over that high ankle sprain. I think the last few weeks you watch practice, you're like, he's getting close to 100% now. And congratulations to him. I think he's going to be named SEC Defensive Player something. Defensive Player of the Week, and Keontae Scott Special Teams. So we've congratulations to both of those. But I think Marcus and Keontae, are the most vocal leaders. But it takes all. Zion Puckett's an incredible leader. He doesn't talk as much as they do, but he's all about the right things and doing the right things and practicing the right way. So is Elijah. He's a vocal leader. But man, I just continue to see them, improve over there for sure, and leadership is part of it.
Front row, Jason.
You talked about running game and then the tight end group, but how much has the perimeter blocking on offense improved over the course of the last 3 or 4 games that's helped to kind of spring some of that running game too?
We still have a ways to go. There were some yards left out there because of that, but we have improved it. Other than the Vandy game was not good for perimeter blocking for us. But the others, we've done a decent job, and that was probably our best. Down the field, people being aggressive and finishing and being a part, playing without the ball. I thought that was our best to date, but we still got to work on it.
Anything else for Coach? Good.